Hey everybody, so on to our fourth resource, which is attention. And attention, my goodness, what an interesting area this is for us, and how it leads to real questions of what creates experience, and what creates the falling away of what's not true, in order that attention shifts. Because if we think about it, ongoing experience, so whatever is being experienced from moment to moment, whether it's us on our own thinking, or us in conversation with someone else, or us dreaming, or us working on something, what that is a form of attention direction, isn't it? So the outcome is an ongoing experience of being that is really the result of where attention is directed. And so already what we've got when we start looking at attention, what we've got already is an indication that where attention is focused creates experience, really. So in other words, creates the lived reality from moment to moment. So fascinating, isn't it? And so that's how variable reality is. Really, reality is entirely a product of where attention is going. Because and this, this is where really reality becomes so nebulous. Because if we consider that in any moment, so say, like, from here I'm looking out on my kitchen, the things that are appearing within that perspective create the reality. And the things that are appearing will be appearing because they have more resonance, more priority, more meaning, more importance within this whole perceptual system. And the things that aren't appearing, that are there still, don't have any reality in that moment, because they're not a they don't exist even in that attention focus. The things that are not being noticed don't exist. So this is where we can really start to consider, we talked about it earlier, magical reality. That there is a reality, and also adjacent possible. There's a reality that exists simultaneously in this moment, that isn't being lived, doesn't exist really in the sense of a lived experience, because the attention is being focused subconsciously, isn't it? There's no focuser of attention. There's no me, really, even though it might look like it sometimes. I'm going to read this book. It looks like this me, this conscious mind, is focusing the attention, but the mechanism, even from how that's decided, let alone how it happens, how does attention get focused, and how does certain elements in a reality come into existence while others don't? Entirely subconscious, isn't it? So exciting, really. Like, gives me goosebumps. How this reality that we live is a construct of what gets attention. And there's infinite realities that are happening right now underneath this current reality that just aren't accessible because of the subconscious direction of attention here. It's just amazing. And so, and really, I think really we can see this in say a conversation with someone. What is it in what they're saying, in how they are, and how they're being, and how they look that is getting the attention? And often, you know, like sometimes when we're really in resentment with someone, we're resisting them. And particularly, we see it when in that resistance and resentment is our survival. You know, there's something maybe in what they're saying or in what we need from them or in our fear that means that in this moment, this whole idea of me, this sort of subconscious idea of me, is under threat. And so all attention as a animal survival mechanism, but actually it's just to a concept rather than to an actual predator in the wild. It's just to a conceptual idea, all attention honed in on whatever that threat is, excluding all other reality. And so everything is directed into the threat and magnifying it. It becomes everything. Everything else is disregarded. And so in that moment, the lived experience of danger, of protection, of the need for fight or flight is absolute. It's everything, isn't it? It's completely taking up all the space. And yet the danger is a projected danger. It's a danger that is coming in from our own fear, need, shame, insecurity, projected out. And so now we have this vicious circle of this reality that is continually being focused in and honed in onto this mirror of our own wounds, really, our own trauma. So attention is maybe well, you know, is perhaps really the ultimate resource, really, in the sense of how it creates reality, it creates experience, it creates either a vicious or a virtuous circle. It directs what is being perceived and experienced from moment to moment. And I think the interesting thing for all of us here is first of all the understanding that there is no director of attention. Just as there's no doer, there's no chooser. It really looks like it. It really looks, you know, today I'm going to focus on X, Y, Z. Today I'm going to be more present. But what is it? Where is that coming from? And what's happening when that's just not possible? Or what, you know, when we might say, you know, today I'm just going to focus on work. And yet we just might find ourselves just daydreaming, ruminating, running over past conversations in our mind, thinking about future stuff. It's amazing, isn't it? What's going on behind the scenes? Well, what's going on behind the scenes is a program of importance, really, isn't it? It's a program of survival that dictates what needs to be focused on to protect the me. And remember, the me, you know, through our childhood, through the brain and the mind development, the me shifts from this body mind, the survival of this body that needs milk, needs cuddles, needs to be helped to get to sleep, you know, it has these physical needs. It shifts to this representation of me that has all this subconscious needs and fears and shames and insecurities that have to somehow be stabilized in order for me to survive. And so the program is a subconscious program of survival, and that directs attention. And so if we find that our days are from the moment we wake up, so the in a way the body wakes up, and then in comes the identified mind. Bam. This is what we have to be scared of. This is what we have to be ashamed of. This is what we have to be depressed about. This is what we have to be really careful about. These are the things that we resent and resist. These are all the things that are wrong with me. Bam, there it is. It's the program of attention direction, because it looks like that is somehow going to protect the idea of me. And our day, our whole day, every waking moment might be filled with attention fixated on survival of me, trying to stabilize. But what's happening is it's an attempt to stabilize the me idea within a projected reality, and none of it is true. Which is why I think what we have, when we say suffering, resistance, resentment, alienation, separation, tension, stress, when we say that suffering is a signal, suffering is the perfection of the design. When it's not understood, suffering continues to direct the attention to try to get rid of the suffering and to stabilize the identity within this insecure environment. So suffering is misunderstood, and it keeps the whole vicious circle going. When suffering is understood, it's a signal that is saying attention right now is on a self-confirming, self-re-traumatizing loop. None of it is true. None of it is healing. All of it is continually feeding back information to an already fraught system. That fraughtness is necessary. Whereas suffering now is saying, okay, confusion, insanity, not reality, not under threat, in projection, a mirror of me. That's what suffering is saying. And through that gradual retraining of what suffering means, it seems to me, and so many examples of the transformational nature of understanding suffering. Attention now is directed inwards into the feelings that have not been allowed in the past, that are now, and we'll talk about capacity later, but there's increasing capacity to feel these feelings. And attention is directed away from this unquestioned belief in what the mind is creating. So it's interesting, isn't it, how these sort of signals back into the subconscious system. It seems to me that that's what we're really all about, is through inquiry, through real genuine exploration of what we are and what's going on and what this mind is. There's different information, or information is used differently within the system, that then starts along this path of greater alignment, greater sanity. And as a result, attention, because the subconscious is shifting, the subconscious is shifting. And so now attention is directed in different places, different directions. you know, like Byron Katie saying, I look forward to being rejected. I look forward to being left out, or I look forward to, you know, to being criticized. Awesome. Now, you know, because now that is a realignment of attention. It's fascinating. These sort of chain effects, these knock-on effects. And so attention, which is really a phenomenal resource, a core resource, because it's at the heart of the experience of being. It creates the experience of being, like literally creates it. Attention, now it can be understood. It moves, it shifts, it's redirected because of changes in the subconscious program. And those changes happen through healing, through real peak experiences, really, which is the healing of these layers of trauma held emotionally within the body, and the shift from a mind lost in its beliefs, lost in its projections, to really to this sort of empty space of attention that doesn't believe anything, that is just a space of inquiry. Yeah, which is pure presence, isn't it? Which is the truth of us. Pure presence, pure consciousness, and empty openness, absolute sanity. Oh, I love this. So cool. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.